The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a warm golden glow across the tranquil river, where gentle ripples mirrored the vibrant hues of dusk. Beneath the sprawling branches of an ancient tree, two friends sat on a weathered bench, engrossed in a game of chess. The soft rustle of leaves provided a soothing backdrop as they contemplated their next moves, each piece a casual reflection of their camaraderie rather than a bid for victory. "It looks like something is bothering you, Lucian," one of the friends remarked, glancing at his companion. "Are you planning a new project, or are you just not happy about this lovely evening?" "It's all the same, Mike. I feel like I'm burning out from my job," Lucian replied, his gaze drifting to the sunset. "Really?" Michael chuckled, trying to lighten the mood. It would be ironic if the demon whose name actually means a light were to burn out at his job. But Lucian's silence shifted Michael's tone. "So you really mean it? What's all of a sudden?" "It's just people, Mike. I've gotten used to their duality, seeing the world as black or white. I can understand that. They have day and night, men and women, life and death. It's no wonder that, when it comes to us, they only view our roles as good or evil, not realizing we both serve the same purpose, guiding them to their best selves. I've grown accustomed to being cursed all the time while you, angels, receive only blessings. I just wish there was more understanding from their side. I wish they could learn over time. But generation after generation, they still make the same misjudgments." Michael furrowed his brow. "I get that. But don't you think they see value in your work too?" "No, they really don't. They want to live in an ideal world where demons don't exist," Lucian replied, frustration creeping into his voice. "They just don't realize what they wish for. Without the bad, how would they recognize the good? Who would enjoy the sun without knowing the rain? People complain about the rain here, but look at those living in deserts. They see every drop as a miracle. The truth is, without bad days, humans wouldn't appreciate the good ones. Besides, who would watch a movie where no drama happens? Who would read a book that starts and ends with the phrase, 'And they lived happily ever after'?" Lucian breathed heavily, then calmed himself and continued with a cold voice. "I know my job is just as important as yours, and I understand that humans might not agree with it. I don't seek credit, not at all. But when they curse me for deals I didn't even make, it annoys me. Speaking of which, where were you yesterday at 10:34 in the morning? Let me remind you. Oh, right. I stole a lucky coin from a guy so he couldn't make it to the airport for a job interview he wasn't supposed to pass anyway," Michael replied casually. "I know, and I got cursed for it," Lucian snapped, frustration spilling over. "That's exactly what I'm talking about. They can't see the difference between good and bad, yet they continue to divide everything into black and white. How can they see only light and darkness when such beautiful sunsets exist between them? I'd like to teach them a lesson, at least one single person." Michael thought for a moment, then said, his eyes burning, "Well, I think we could do it, my friend. I can definitely help you with that." "How exactly?" "Well," Michael began, leaning forward, "there's a young woman, Amanda Stewart. You might remember her. An ordinary life, no big dramas, almost a plain page. You could apply your theory to her, make her life perfectly good, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to help you." "This could work," Lucian said, enthusiasm lighting his eyes. "Let's start right now." With those words, he gestured, and the chessboard vanished along with all its pieces. "We'll finish that later," he added. Amanda Stewart was a 20-year-old newly graduated software engineer at the beginning of her career. Living with her parents, she was focused on finding a job and moving out rather than on her personal life. She had a few friends and hobbies, but no boyfriend, children, or pets. Her main goal was securing a position. After several rejections due to her lack of experience, Amanda felt a flicker of hope when she applied for a position at a gaming company, a field she loved. To her surprise, they called her back for an interview. Excited, she prepared half a night, but the next morning, she woke up feeling fresh and energized. The day was perfect. She left the house, and the bus arrived immediately. All the traffic lights on her way were green, allowing her to arrive at the interview on time. It felt as if the universe was on her side. The interview went exceptionally well, and to her amazement, they offered her more than she had expected. Overjoyed, Amanda hardly noticed that her journey back was just as perfect. All the traffic lights remained green. Within her first month at her dream job, she earned compliments and made good friends. Her manager was kind, forgiving of her mistakes, and supportive. As she saved money, Amanda began searching for an apartment to rent. The very next day, she saw a sign on a tree advertising an apartment nearby. After calling, she attended the viewing and found it perfect. A view of the park, spacious, modern renovations, and an affordable price. The eager landlord signed the contract with her on the spot. At this point, Amanda began to wonder how she'd become so lucky. During a meeting with her friends, she shared her good fortune, and they suggested, "There's only one way to check it. Fill out a lottery ticket." So they did. What do you think happened next? Of course, Amanda won. Angel Michael and Demon Lucian were behind her all the way, ensuring her wishes came true and that every action was successful. She couldn't even break a nail or step into a puddle during those days. Her life was perfect. Amanda wisely used her jackpot to pay off her university loans and her parents' mortgage. Although she knew she was extraordinarily lucky, she hesitated to test her luck again, fearing the old saying, "Lucky in money, unlucky in love." But soon enough, she met a handsome, wealthy man who fell in love with her at once. Amanda couldn't believe that someone like him was interested in her, yet reality proved it true. After 6 months of dating, he proposed, and she moved into his large, modern house near her office. Life seemed flawless. A perfect husband, no financial worries, promotions at work, ideal health. But a strange internal feeling began to grow within Amanda. She couldn't understand it. After all, it's easy to describe a problem when something is wrong. But how could one describe an issue when everything is perfect? Boredom. Amanda found herself growing weary of her lifestyle. It felt too unreal, too flat, too perfect. Only when she watched dramatic movies did her heart beat a little faster, empathizing with the heroes in trouble. "You just need a kid," her mother advised once. "With a child, you won't have much time to be bored. It's always a challenge." And so she did. Deep down, Amanda hoped for some illness, heaviness, or unattractiveness, as in the last few years, she hadn't even caught a simple cold. But no, her pregnancy was smooth, without any side effects. Labor was quick and easy, and the child was healthy and calm. Amanda's husband hired the best nannies, and her life returned to its perfect rhythm. Day after day, Amanda felt as though she were living in a strange reality show. She couldn't complain to anyone, as no one would understand her plight. The colors faded from her life, leaving it plain and bright. Her existence felt like tasteless food, or a once beautiful melody, played on an endless loop. Enchanting at first, but soon unbearable, grating on the soul until you do anything to silence it. The only time she felt alive was when crossing the old bridge in her town. She loved standing there, watching the reflections of sunsets dance in the deep waters of the swift river. Only there could she feel a hint of sorrow and shadows passing over her. One night, the solitude of her soul became unbearable. She felt as if there was nothing more to achieve in her life, as if it could no longer surprise her. Driven by desperation, she dressed and left the house, heading to her favorite spot on the bridge. Without a second thought, she climbed over the railing and jumped into the river, the cold water enveloping her immediately. "What have we done?" Michael shouted, watching the scene unfold. Lucian stood frozen, unable to utter a word, equally shocked by Amanda's actions. "We were meant to teach her a lesson, not to cause her death," Michael continued, panic rising in his voice. Without hesitation, Lucian jumped from the bridge after her. He found her at the bottom of the river, nearly lifeless, and pulled her to the riverbank. Just then, a car broke down on the bridge at the exact spot they had just occupied. The driver stepped out to inspect the engine, and when he glanced at the river, he spotted a woman's body lying on the shore. The rest happened quickly. He rushed to her side while his wife called 911. First responders arrived, and Amanda was revived. She woke up in the hospital the next morning, her body racked with pain from broken ribs and other injuries from the fall. But she didn't complain. For the first time, she felt the taste of life returning. Through pain and shame, the shadows and colours of life flooded back. Surrounded by family and friends, she finally said, "Thanks to the demon, I survived." Everyone exchanged puzzled glances, surprised by her words. It wasn't what they had anticipated to hear. They chalked it up to the confusion following her recent ordeal, assuming she had simply misspoken. But Amanda truly meant what she said. From the depths of her memories, she recalled burning eyes and the touch of evil that had pulled her back into the light from the dark, icy waters. She couldn't tell if it was a dream or a hallucination brought on by lack of air, but she was grateful to feel the pain again. Lucian stood nearby, joy swelling within him. For the first time in his long existence, a human had genuinely appreciated his role and recognized the purpose behind his actions. "Now we can finish our chess game," Michael said, draping his arm over Lucian's shoulder. Lucian nodded, a smile spreading across his face. "Let's give Amanda some time to understand how to live," he replied. "I'm sure she won't waste her second chance on illusions about an ideal world, but will accept with gratitude whatever comes her way." The two friends exchanged a glance, a silent understanding passing between them. Their forms began to dissolve, fading like whispers in the air, leaving Amanda with a quiet resolve to embrace the imperfect beauty of her life.